Welcome in to the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we are going to talk about draft targets for the Ravens. They hold the 22 overall pick in the draft. And if the draft were held today, who are some players that the Ravens potentially could pick at that 22 spot? We will go over all of them in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, I want to get to the real ones, the real members of the Ravens flock. Where are you guys at? If you've been a Ravens fan for at least 5 years, go ahead and smash that like button and show some love and flock out with your hawk out, if you would. And here's what I want you to do. If you've been a fan for less than 5 years, and that's okay, because we got some younger fans, we got some people that may be new to Baltimore, whatever it may be. If you've been a fan for less than 5 years, go ahead and get in the comments section and tell me how long you have been a Ravens fan. We'll get started with today's show. So we are going to go over some draft targets for the Ravens. 5 players. I'm looking at 3 different positions of need, the biggest priorities for the Ravens. At this point, we don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to be back with the Ravens or not. So I do have a quarterback on this list. I have 2 corners, and I have 2 wide receivers. These are 5 possible options of players that could be available for Baltimore at 22. So let's go ahead and get started with a wide receiver. Jaxon, Smith-Njigba from The Ohio State University. I got to tell you, JSN is a terrific football player. He missed most of last year with a hamstring injury, but here's the thing, folks. If you go back in time, in the hot tub time machine to just a year prior ago, and he was playing alongside Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and company, and he was better than those guys. And they've had pretty good NFL careers already to this point in their rookie seasons. Jaxon Smith-Njigba can be that guy. And he can be a possession receiver. And you're looking at a Baltimore Ravens team that needs all the help they can get at the receiver position. JSN can be a nice fit. Lance Zierlein of NFL Media had this to say about Jaxon Smith-Njigba. The scouting report: possession slot receiver who lacks the shake to separate underneath and the speed to run past defenses. He's tough in the middle of the defense and has proven he can make catches in congestion, and will need to fine-tune his route running to give himself his best chance. Those things are workable, so his flaws even are stuff that are manageable, but he's well on his way. I would love to see him in Baltimore myself. Got a couple more names to get to in just a second, but let's start with Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Should the Ravens draft JSN? If you think they should, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Here's your chance to be the GM on the Ravens Rundown. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage. Have I get your votes in? Y for yes, in for no. Should the Ravens draft Jaxon Smith-Njigba or not? Tell me in the comment section below. Another wide receiver. Now, JSN might be my favorite receiver in this draft, but Quentin Johnston is a close second. And we've seen some recent mock drafts as of late, whether it was Mel Kiper Jr. or Todd McShay. Some of these others have been picking up steam of connecting Quentin Johnston to the Baltimore Ravens with that 22nd pick. Now, Quentin Johnston, this is a guy that was a first-team All-Big 12 performer the last 2 years, was a finalist for the Bolitnikoff Award. And you want to talk about talent level. Who is his player comp? It's a pretty good one. Alshon Jeffrey. Isn't that what this Ravens team needs? Is an Alshon Jeffrey a lookalike or a 2.0? That'd be an excellent fit. Look, I don't care who's throwing you the football. If I get the second coming of Alshon Jeffrey, that's exciting. That'll get the juices flowing. Lance Zierlein, the scouting report on Johnston. Long, striding vertical threat who can open up and separate when allowed to keep his feet moving in space. His elevation and catch radius create an expansive target area down the field, but his overall success rate on contested catches is way lower than it should be. Fair, but he's got the size. He can be a deep threat, stretch the field a bit more. I like Quentin Johnston a lot. Next up, Joey Porter Jr. And I know, Ravens fans, you may be saying to yourselves, Really? The son of a Steeler legend? That guy? Yes, Joey Porter Jr. Yes. And he did say, by the way, it was at the Combine a couple weeks back. Producer Sam was there, and he said that he has no problem with playing for the Ravens. There's no bad blood or anything like that. So it's not a issue of some sorts. But here's somebody that was a second-team All-American this past year, first-teamer in the All-Big Ten team. And the thing that I look at with Joey Porter Jr., this is a player that he's not going to be your 5-6 interception type. That's okay. He's going to be your no-fly zone type corner that is going to play lockdown defense, that's going to do things that route. And that's fine. And the Ravens could certainly use that. Would be a nice compliment for Marlon Humphrey. Remember, you already have a really good safety room as well with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams and company. So Joey Porter Jr., watch out, could really be something special for that secondary right away. Zerline on Joey Porter Jr., an ascending cornerback, combining traits and above-average play strength that create a clear definition of who he is as a player. He can reroute the release and has the frame to close catch windows against big receivers in press man and in cover 2 looks. So how about that? The evaluation there on Joey Porter Jr. He's a terrific talent. And this is not a deal, folks. I'll tell you this, too. A lot of times when you carry the name of a previous great player, family member and all that, we know about nepotism. There's no nepotism here with Joey Porter Jr. He is that good. He is that dude. What say you? Should the Ravens draft Joey Porter Jr., JSN, maybe somebody we haven't talked about or haven't gotten to yet? Let me know in the comment section. Who should the Ravens draft? Give me one name that you'd like to see in a Baltimore Ravens uniform in 2023 with the 22nd overall pick. Give me one name who comes to mind you'd like to see the Ravens draft. A couple more for you here. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, let's go to Deonte Banks, the corner from Maryland. Deonte Banks, I think Ravens fans are pretty familiar with him, as I'm sure we have some Maryland fans watching our show today, obviously. 4-year starter with Maryland. He did suffer a season-ending shoulder injury in early 2021, but other than that, he was pretty reliable for his time there with Maryland. And this wasn't somebody that won the big-name awards or anything like that, but when it comes to the measurables and what he did at the Combine and his pro days and all that stuff, that really impressed the decision makers. There was at one point in time where we were looking at mock drafts where Deonte Banks was looked at as a potential day 3 guy, third, fourth round, and now it seems like it's almost a sure thing that he'll be a first-round pick. Now, granted, pretty much all the corners, their stocks have gone up, but Deonte Banks is no exception. As we learn more about him, his rate has gone up. Zerline on Banks, perimeter corner with desired blend of size, strength, and athleticism. Size matters. Banks is capable of release disruption from press. He plays with smooth hips and easy feet to pedal and glide around the field. He's capable of matching his release and running with his opponent. Last one on the list of draft targets for the Ravens. I promised you we would get to a quarterback. And the quarterback that we have here for you, it's not Anthony Richardson. It's not Bryce Young. It's not C.J. Stroud or Will Levis. Hendon Hooker, potentially, for the Ravens at 22. Yes, he's 25 years old. Yes, he's coming off a torn ACL. But if the Ravens are picking at 22, those great quarterbacks, the high-profile one, the top-tier ones, aren't going to be around at 22. Hendon Hooker is the next best thing once you get beyond that first tier. I mean, he is, this is your Kirkland brand buy or something here, when it comes to Hendon Hooker. Now, producer Sam and I were talking about this earlier, that with Hendon Hooker, no one is questioning the talent level of Hendon Hooker. I mean, SEC Offensive Player of the Year. First team All-SEC, was on his way to being the Heisman winner and taking Tennessee to their first ever college football playoff. Had all those things going for him. But then he suffered the ACL injury back on November 19th, and we don't know when necessarily he's going to be ready to go. He's got the comparison to Desmond Ridder, according to Zerline. And I got to tell you, with Hendon Hooker, if the other factors weren't involved, the ACL injury, the being 25 years old, if he were just a little bit younger, didn't have the ACL injury, this is an easy call for the Ravens at 22 if they are looking for a quarterback, if they're done with Lamar. But with those other concerns, then that makes this a little bit tougher as far as that goes. Zerline on Hooker. Hooker plays with excellent poise and footwork as a pocket passer. He will make quarterback coaches and play callers happy with his adherence to keeping plays on schedule. He's still showing signs of improvement and growth at the position. At 25 years old, still showing signs of improvement and growth, that's what you want to hear. That's very good there from a Zerline on that front. So with that said, should the Ravens draft a quarterback in round one? What do you think? Type D for draft, type P for pass. What do you think? Should the Ravens draft a quarterback in round one? With what we know right now where things stand, is that what they should do? Tell me in the comment section. D for draft, P for pass. You can interact with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, also on Facebook for that crowd as well. That's Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there. I'll see you next time here on the channel.